And we're live. We're live here, YouTube. This is so random, so new, because I haven't been doing a lot of these YouTube lives, but I have done a couple of them, and you've loved them. So I'm going to do this one. And what we're going to talk about today is how to use your emotions as a feedback mechanism so that you can actually create the life you want to live. Hey, what's up, Anime Hunter? So that is today's topic: how to use your emotions to create the life you want to live. And the way that we do that is by using them as feedback. Okay, this is really important because the reality around us is our feedback mechanism. It is the clearest mirror for what is going on inside of ourselves, because what is happening internally will reflect back to us what is and will show up as our external reality. Okay. And as I have been feeling a lot of emotions, that's to say the least. Hi, Monique. As I've been feeling a lot of emotions because I've opened up about, recently struggling with depression. I've had it for most of my life, but have never really been diagnosed until recently. And I've been getting a lot of advice and spending a lot of time on YouTube. That's part of why I'm doing this YouTube live, by the way, is because I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube. And uh-oh, phone's ringing. You hear that? Oh no. Cancel. I apologize. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube because I've been reading and watching a lot of videos about how to deal with depression, and specifically how to deal with the trauma that's underneath and causing the depression symptoms. And so I wanted to give back. I wanted to give back in this YouTube live and download to some of you a lot of what has allowed me to create a really amazing life for myself, where I get to travel the world anywhere I want to go, creating art and impact. And that's been incredible. And it starts by understanding that the reality around us is telling us what's going on inside of ourselves. Literally, what's going on inside of ourselves is reflected outside of ourselves. So if we can start to use the world outside as feedback, it'll give us awareness, and awareness gives us choice. So if we can start to make different choices, we can start to make powerful change in our life. Okay. Now, this topic that I'm going to cover today about how emotions are our first step of this process. Understand that there's 6 steps to manifesting whatever you want. There's an actual equation for that, okay? And in those 6 steps, there's each one has a lot of layers to it, and the first 2 are beliefs and emotions, okay? So there's 2 first steps in this algorithm. I'm not going to cover the whole thing today, but if you're interested in diving deeper into this subject and you want support in learning how to manifest your dream life and overcome your limiting beliefs, then I encourage you to apply for my 8-week group coaching program. You can go to theartofchoosinglove.com/thedojo in order to apply. Early bird pricing is available until September 15th. Okay. And we're going to start at the beginning of October. So I'm just letting you know that right away, because you're going to get a taste of this. This is some of what I cover in week 1 of that program. So when you experience emotions in your body, okay, because that's where we experience them, right? The emotions happen inside our bodies. What is actually happening is we're having a series of responses, firings, electrical impulses. Like Roberto just asked, how do you know when you're suffering from depression? Depression is what we call a bunch of different symptoms. Long periods of sadness, lack of appetite, fatigue, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of different potential symptoms. And when you have enough of them, you get diagnosed with depression. Now, how do we, when we're experiencing something like sadness, let's say you're experiencing sadness and you feel that in your body, understand the body is our unconscious mind. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how our body is our subconscious. How do we know that? Well, think about something called muscle memory. Okay. What is muscle memory? Muscle memory is when you've done something enough times that literally you've done it enough times where you no longer have to think about it. It becomes ingrained in your muscle memory, meaning it becomes unconscious. Think about walking. If I want to get up and walk over there and get a drink of water, I get up out of the chair. That's an unconscious movement that I can do based on my muscle memory. I can walk from point A to point B without needing to think, how do I lift my right leg? How do I lift my left leg? Okay, I don't have to think about that because it exists in my muscle memory, meaning it exists in my unconscious mind, right? And so our bodies, the memories of our muscles, our bodies are our unconscious mind, and our emotions are the response to beliefs that we hold in our unconscious mind. I want to make sure you understand that. So make sure you leave a comment and let me know if that makes sense, okay? Our emotions are responses to the beliefs that exist in our unconscious mind. So I'm going to give you an example, okay? Over the last several months, I've been dealing with a belief that I've held in my body that I am not a currently a healthy romantic partner, meaning it's not good for someone to be in romantic partnership with me. Okay. That's something that I've been battling with. It's something that's been in my brain. Now, that belief, while I'm consciously aware of it, it exists in the body, right? And so then what happens is if I get into an argument with my romantic partner, with my girlfriend, what happens then is now that belief gets triggered. So we get into an argument, and then the belief I'm not healthy to be in relationship with gets triggered, and I have an emotional response once that's triggered. That response, if you think about it, that response is going to be things like getting angry at myself. That response might look like getting really sad. That response might look like going into depression. That response might look like resentment of my romantic partner for being with me in the first place, whatever it is. But here's the thing. If you flipped that belief, okay, the belief in your unconscious mind, if you actually flipped it upside down and you shifted it into, I'm a really good boyfriend. Let's say that was the belief that actually existed in my unconscious mind and in my body. Well, then if I get into an argument with my girlfriend, now that belief gets triggered. I'm a really good boyfriend. And what can come up is actually a feeling of an emotion of calm. Because instead of getting all bent out of shape, I realize I'm a really good boyfriend. This is just a disagreement, and I remain calm. Maybe what gets triggered is this emotional experience of forgiveness, forgiving myself for whatever I may have done to get into that argument, right? It's a different experience emotionally if I have a different belief underneath the surface. Okay. And this is surface level in terms of what I'm discussing here, right? This is like the basics. Again, I teach this is a part of what I teach in week 1 of my group coaching program, the DOJO. For those of you who want to be a part of like having support and learning this kind of stuff, I encourage you to apply. Go to theartofchoosinglove.com/apply to fill out your application. But we start at the beginning of October. Okay. And so why am I telling this to you? I'm telling this to you because your emotions do not need to be something that you fight with. If you're feeling deep sadness, you do not need to judge yourself for that. If you are feeling angry, you do not need to judge yourself for that. You do not need to get into a cycle, right? If anyone with depression knows when we get into a low emotional state, it can lead to a cycle of judging ourselves. Why aren't we happier? I'm a failure. And like negative self-talk that perpetuates and gets worse and worse. And so when we recognize that our emotions are actually letting us know that there's a belief there, if we can identify what the belief is, we can start to shift it. That's where our conscious mind comes in, right? We can say, wow, I have a belief that I'm unhealthy. I'm an unhealthy boyfriend. I get to shift that. And when I start to shift that, now my unconscious mind starts to take on these new belief patterns. And when your unconscious mind is working with you to create the life of your dreams, that is how it happens effortlessly. That's how it happens quickly. Is because your belief systems are telling you you're smart enough, you're good enough, you're talented enough, you're a good human being, you're worthy of prosperity, you're worthy of financial abundance. People like you, people love you, you love yourself. All of those beliefs get lodged into your body. That's called embodiment of these beliefs. And when you are embodying these beliefs, you no longer have to consciously work to have affirmations and all the things to try and get yourself to believe them. But the thing is, why a lot of times affirmations don't work is because when you're trying to affirm something, you're trying to put in new code on a full hard drive. There's no room to put in new belief systems because what's actually going on internally is you have all of these limiting belief systems that are running behind the scenes. So what gets to happen is first, you get to understand what belief systems you're actually running. Affirmations, Jen, affirmations actually do work. Most of the time, we just don't realize what we're affirming. We can say, wow, I'm a good boyfriend. I'm a good boyfriend. I'm a good boyfriend. But what happens is the moment I stop saying it, if in my unconscious mind, I'm saying you're a bad boyfriend, you're a bad boyfriend, you're a bad boyfriend, what happens is that how can my conscious mind possibly overpower my muscle memory? We got to first release all that. And that's a whole nother thing. There's a lot of tools and exercises and skills that go into that. And again, for those of you who aren't aware, I'm launching my next 8-week group coaching life accelerator program. It starts at the beginning of October. So if you want to join, please apply. I would love to see some of you in there. And this awareness is the first step. The awareness of how your emotions are giving you insight into what your beliefs are. And when your beliefs, you can shift those. You have that power. That's how you get to create your reality. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for listening to this live. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn this information. To now you get to go and do the actual work. Learning the information is just the start. Apply it to your life. Apply it to your life so you can see the shifts. Don't do it for me, do it for you. And when you start to do it for you, you're going to become happier and healthier and more abundant. And people are going to start asking you, how'd you do that? That's actually how I became a coach, by the way, is I started applying stuff to my own life and I became happier. And people started asking me, how are you doing this? How are you making more money? Why are you so happy all the time? And yes, there's ups and downs. I'm currently experiencing a lot of downs, right? And I've opened up about that honestly. And from where I was to where I am, even my downs are so much higher. That's because I have so many beliefs in my unconscious mind that are supporting me in being the person I want to be. So I thank you for doing the work to start becoming that person for yourself, to start creating the life you want to lead. I want to remind you that always, in all ways, you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved.